Well, hello, people. Here we go. Round two of Baron Storm. I think we still had Baron Storm before. I don't think that changed. But anyway, the first go around got completely canceled, even though we were 3 hours into it by maintenance. So we had to redo our Baron completely over. And as usual, I could not port to save my life. Like, if they said your life depended on getting in the first couple of rows, I would have died. Yeah, it's just not great. So anyway, it seems like at least in this Baron, nothing really changed. It definitely was a little bit more competitive as far as second and third place. It seemed like the first Baron, we pretty much had first, second, and third pretty much locked up. But this one, it was very competitive until the end as far as second and third went. First place, not so much. Toby, aka Beavier, he was in there for like the first hour or so. Outside of like a couple of rallies hitting and then pulling out and him getting back in. Outside of that, nothing really changed. But yeah, let me go ahead and start showing you some of the rallies that we were involved in, because obviously there were like hundreds of rallies, but I'm just gonna go ahead and show you at least most of all the rallies that I remember being in, at least, just to show you what all was happening and what was the plan. Obviously, since we had like 10 or 12 rallies, we had different rallies readied up. We had a range rally, we had infantry rally, cavalry rally, mixed rally, 4-2-4, etc. So whenever we needed a specific rally, we would have it on command. So that's the good thing about having so many rallies ready. It just gives you that advantage. Like if you see somebody that's running a 4-2-4, you just send a strong cavalry into it, and usually you will win. Now, of course, I say usually, because the reason why the 4-2-4 and the 4-4-2, etc., those combos came back, and I say come back because if you're newer to the game, a couple of years ago, the 4-2-4, 4-4-2, etc., those type of rallies were already around, but because blast rallies were so strong with the release of familiars and everything like that, that it just became trying to defend in mix was almost impossible if the person attacking you had anywhere near your stats. So they became kind of irrelevant for a long time, unless you were like one of those big titans. But now with the inclusion of the counters, etc., they're making a big comeback. And by the way, if you don't know what I mean by 4-2-4 or 4-4-2, essentially that just means the breakdown of how many troops you're going to send. Infantry, ranged, cavalry. That's how it's broken down. So for instance, if you send 4-2-4, you're sending 4 infantry, 2 ranged, 4 cavalry. And then however, if you're sending like 200k, then you'll just break it down into that, etc. Right? So the reason these rallies right now are very powerful is because, I'll give you an example. If you are going to go into a 4-2-4, you're thinking, okay, well, the least amount of troops that they have is the ranged troops. So obviously a cav rally would be very strong against it. But when you go up against 4-2-4, they're usually going to have range up front, which is what they have the least amount of. So you're sending cavalry into range already, which is not great. But even if you do take out all of the ranged, there is not going to be a lot of range to speak of. So the damage that you're going to be doing initially is not going to be a lot. So that's why, for instance, if you go up against 4-2-4 and your cavalry blast isn't that strong, it's not going to work. So here, I'm showing you some of the rallies that we had that we just narrowly lost. Because there's plenty of people out there that say that, well, YouTubers only put their wins. And funny enough, a lot of these people that say that, like, the YouTubers only put their wins and whatnot, they're the ones that are usually posting online every day about their wins and none of their losses. So, figures, right? But either way, I'm going to be putting a decent amount of losses here just so I can show you why a lot of these rallies sometimes fail. This time I'm leading, by the way, and I believe I had a cavalry rally ready up, and I was going to be tasked with hitting this guy out, Ace 1. Now, first of all, you can tell that this account is fairly new, but it's already like all Mythic Champion. But if you take a look at his gear is very, very, very heavy on the calf side. So when you're running 4-4 and you're heavy on the calf side, you're probably not going to take a calf rally too well, because you're not going to have enough range stats to back you up. And if I can shred through those range, then the real damage is going to start. So even though this guy is a Mythic Champ, 311Ks, etc., I felt like I had a decent chance just because his gear set is very calf heavy. And when that happens, you pretty much just opening yourself up for a big rally hitting you. So I was going to go ahead and send Cav into a 4-2-4. Obviously, I know that he was going to be in a range formation, but that's what you have to go through. Like, if you're going against 4-4-2, you have to have a strong enough infantry blast to hit it out. If you're going up against a 4-2-4, you got to have a strong enough cavalry rally to hit it out. So, and then, of course, other things start playing a factor in it, like your guild sigils, your star levels, you know, all of that comes into play. So but now taking a look at this hit, if you take a look, of course, 4-4, he's gonna have to be in a range formation, and it's just a matter of, did you get through the range, and then did you do enough damage to actually win the fight after the fact? And as you can tell there, I did. Now, if you see why, like for instance, Luminary Marksman, I went through half of them. Heroic Cannoneer, I went through half of them. It's because of the formation that I went in. Now, I went on a ranged wedge because that puts the calves in the side, and that what that allows you to do is to only have to go through half of the ranged. So that's already giving you a bigger advantage because you're going through half the range where it's already their lower troop types. So just something to keep in mind. And here I had, once again, a calf rally, and then he pretty much only had Inf Calf in there, so I was pretty confident that I could win, because let's be honest, that's the only way that I would win against somebody like Nash. But they had a pretty decent amount of reinforcements that went in. Now, I was still able to win, but look at the type of monster that this guy Nash is, okay, right? I went full Calf into a predominantly infantry Cav rally, and just take a look at this, right? Because he probably got maybe 2 reinforcements of range after he took that initial rally, right? 2.8 versus 3.9, and he still almost won. With what? 700k ranged against a full Cav March, and he still almost won. Yeah, that's a monster. I'm not hitting Nash unless unless it's something like that again, because yeah, that wouldn't be good. Now here, to be fair, in the last Baron video, I did show Ghost. It was an inside joke really about the no talents and stuff with Mario. So I did hit him, and I ran into a brick wall. Okay, so it's not all great. It's not all wins. So, but to be fair to him, I wanted to show that because I definitely ran into a freaking brick wall. Did not like that wall at all. So I wanted to do a little makeup for the last video because I wanted to make a joke with Mario, but it was kind of in his expense in a way. But here it is, the very end of the Baron. The BVR, aka Toby, was the winner, so at least that didn't change. So congrats to Toby. And then Queen got second place. That got very, very tight at the end. And now off with third. Like I mentioned, the first Baron go around, we pretty much had first, second, and third locked up. This time, it was more competitive. Also, we did get some recompensation about the speed ups and stuff that we got back. But they did not give a lot of the stuff that we use, like carpets, boots, etc. I did hear that some people did get their carpets back, but you have to put in like a separate ticket, and I'm like, why? Why do you have to put in a separate ticket? Why don't you just, it was just, yeah. I did not have any 70 or 50% attack boots anymore. It was just, it sucked. But either way, congrats to everybody that was involved to help us with the win, and congrats to Toby for his Baron win. Also, guys, I am going to be going on a trip for about 3 or 4 days, probably 5 or so. So I'm going to try to put some videos up in the meantime, but just know that I'm not going to be around for the next few days. But yeah, appreciate you guys for watching, and until later. Bye.